Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantel.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Megan.
Hello,
And I'm
ladies.
excited to hear the story.
Yes.
Obviously, if you've clicked on it, you know what it is, but I feel like I
And
know
this is
like
our-
10%.
This is our first episode after the new year?
Yeah.
For our first year, I mean? Not like the new year. Our new
Yeah.
year, I
Oh,
guess.
I was like,
Right.
is it springtime?
It's
What
our
the hell?
fiscal year at Coast Files, and we're about to start it here.
Yeah, here we
You
go.
just
Lindsay,
had me
kicking us off
anniversary.
again.
So
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
So
this
I'm
was
always here to
us
confuse everybody.
Oh my God. I was
1
like,
year
what?
ago.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
this is
believe
one.
it?
Yeah. No,
Full
I can't.
cycle.
That's
For
a
full
bonkers,
circle.
man.
Yeah.
Full cycle, circle, whatever, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
and really quick, I had a few people reach out to congratulate me on landing a job, and that is so freaking
Yeah,
sweet.
that was so
just
nice.
thank you so much. Even if you were like listening and you thought to yourself, "Hey, that's great," I'm feeling the energy. So just thank you.
Yeah.
That was very, very kind.
Also amazing that you messaged on Spotify. We cannot like direct message you back on there,
Yes.
which kind of sucks, but like we see it. We see everything.
Well, now
Yeah.
we see it because I also
Yeah.
forgot that you could do that. So I've seen them
I know.
recently.
That's like a
I
new
wish we
feature
could at
on
least
Spotify.
heart it or something. But
I know,
right? Like
I know.
engage. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
we
do
mentally
see those
hearted
comments.
it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will change that eventually on Spotify or something that you'll
Right.
be able
That's
to
a
do
new
that.
feature.
But
So
yeah.
it's
mean,
evolving, I'm sure.
Finally,
Yes,
I love
exactly.
Spotify for a lot of things, but yeah, that's kind of cool. So thank you to everyone, and yeah, 1 year of podcasting, new job, people. The sun is coming out earlier and staying longer. Things are
I
feeling
know.
good. It's our renaissance.
Is it officially spring when
Yeah.
this episode comes out?
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll figure
No.
that out. I don't
No,
think it
I
is,
don't
but it's
think
close.
so.
No.
It's
Why
close.
is this the 19th? Or is
Oh
this the 26th?
It's taking so long to
Or is it
load.
the 12th?
You're
Where
just
are
saying-
we?
You're saying all the dates.
Just gonna keep saying dates.
It's
I think
gonna
it's the
come-
19th.
Yeah, March 19th. I think
Okay,
spring
almost
is
So
spring.
it's spring in like 2
21st,
days. Yeah.
Probably.
springtime.
Okay.
Spring
So-
equinox.
So go find some bunnies that lay eggs and
Mhm.
or poop chocolate or whatever, and yeah.
I think Easter's in like April this year, but
Oh shit.
Oh,
I know.
Okay.
It's all right. We can eat chocolate eggs in March too.
I'm an adult.
They'll
I
be
can have
out.
chocolate whenever I
They're
want.
already on sale right now. I'll go buy
On
some.
sale?
I saw.
Actually, yeah, like the first week that they put them out at Shoppers, they literally put them on sale for like the first week. They're like, here's a bunch of Easter chocolate that's cheap. And then they're like, just kidding. Now it's $20 for a bag of Eggies.
Oh, I really want one of those Laura Secord cream eggs.
Oh, yes.
So can someone buy me one?
Yes,
Yes,
Save
we
it.
can. We can do
Okay.
that.
but I'll have
Thank
to get myself one because I just can't help
I mean,
myself.
Clearly.
And we should all get each other, so we all get 3 eggs each.
And whatever one you buy me, lock it up and save it for me and do not touch it.
Ooh, that's going to be tough. Okay.
At least one.
It's a testing how much you love
At least
me.
one egg
Okay.
will last. Like if I have to
Okay,
keep
okay.
replacing it, like you will get an egg.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that's fair.
Oh, now I want some chocolate. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
I basically always want chocolate, so I get it. Let me get into my story though, so we can eat food tonight, as I'm
Yeah.
already
Mhm,
hungry.
mhm.
Chocolate.
Yeah, I want chocolate now too. I always have a stash in my kitchen.
Smart.
So the story I'm about to tell you is one that Megan has requested, and I had it on my list, and I've made her wait this long. So the wait is over, Megan.
You know
It's
what? And it's
time.
fine. We've covered so many cool episodes, so like I just knew it was coming. So I'm
Yes.
stoked.
And for those listening, this is considered to be one of the oldest mysteries in the United States, like before it became the United States officially, but when there was colonies. This goes back to the 1500s. So we're going to talk about Elizabeth I for 1 second, because she kind of was in charge of originating this story. She was the Queen of England at the time. You've all seen pictures of her. I didn't even find a picture. Like you
She's
probably
the
know what
one
she
with the
looks
big
like.
like paper.
The frillies, like the
Yeah.
white skin, the orange, the red
Mhm.
hair. Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's a
red
look.
hair.
Well, I mean, like, it's red hair in terms of how you classify it, but like it's orange. Like let's just call it it's orange.
Right. She just seems like, she was trying very hard to be very translucent. So,
Yeah. They all were back then. It showed that they were rich.
So basically, she wanted to control more of North America, shipping routes, finding a passage to the Pacific Ocean, which I've mentioned before in my previous episodes.
That's like all that they
Uh,
were up to back then.
they
It's
really
like,
wanted to get across the world.
I just want to leave this place so bad. Like, what else is out
Mhm.
there?
Exactly. Also mining for things like gold, precious metals, and converting the native people of North America to Christianity, which
Which
they
they
were probably
loved.
super
They were
excited
so
about.
happy.
Exactly. Also, Spain wanted to do all these things too, so it was kind of a competition. Like,
Mm.
who can do it first and who can do it better. And Spain's taking over some areas, so Queen Elizabeth I, I want the British to take over make colonies over North America as well. So in 1584, the British tried to establish their first colony under Sir Walter Raleigh, or at Raleigh, North Carolina.
I was going to say, I'm like, I know
Have you
that
heard of
word.
that? Yeah. So this was
No.
probably named after him, essentially. He was
Chantel
given
doesn't get out much or read or have the internet, so she's never, no.
I just love when
Um,
you guys say this and you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I have no
Megan's
idea what's
on board.
happening.
She's about
Yeah.
my episode. She's
Because
probably
again,
like
it's still the
pre-researched.
East Coast, so I'm like, I know all. I mean, not all. Oh my God, please don't quote me, but I know some.
Yes.
I'm
You
gonna
know what,
quote you.
Chantel? I know of it. I've heard it before.
Okay.
That's
okay.
kind of where it
Got
ends.
you.
Well,
Gotcha.
Sports?
Virginia in general is named after Queen Elizabeth I because she was the Virgin Queen. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So Sir Walter Raleigh was given exclusive colonizer rights by Queen Elizabeth I for 7 years.
Just sounds so like
That's
I
not what
just,
they
that was
called
a
it. That's how
I
I'm
thing.
just
calling it.
hate.
Oh, okay. That's what you're
people.
calling it. Okay.
Okay,
I love
okay.
it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Exclusive rights to colonize, though, North America. She had previously given it to his like half brother, and he failed. So he was now her like favorite. So
It's a really
it's
awkward
like,
Christmas.
you
Yeah.
need to go like make colonies, and if you're successful, then you get rights. But you get 7 years to try, essentially.
Mhm.
So the first attempt, like I said, 1584. Like his brother had tried before, but didn't even get close. Like he like stopped in like Africa or something, and some
That's
people
not the right
went
direction.
over. Some people did go over, I think, to more Canada, but not in the intended place. So this attempt failed, but they did bring back 2 Native American people, Manteo of the CROATOAN tribe and Wanchis of the Roanoke tribe. And the reason they did this is because they wanted to show, hey, we did something. We brought these people back. They can
Look,
tell us
we
about their
kidnapped
culture.
these 2 people who don't know what's going on. How cool is that?
Yes. I mean, I don't know if they went somewhat willingly, but they went with them. I don't know. Either
Most
way,
likely.
I doubt it was willingly. Like, oh my gosh.
They didn't know what they were
they
signing up
wanted to learn so they taught them English and vice
By
versa.
force.
They tried to learn, yeah. So they have translation. So it was basically
Mhm.
for their own purposes, their own needs. But they brought them over to England, and they brought them back again in 1585 when they went to try to establish another colony. So at this point, they did learn a little more about the cultures. They also sent John White, who we'll hear more about in a second, as an artist. So he was able to draw pictures of the land. He was a cartographer, so he created maps and he drew pictures of the native people of the area. So that way they could kind of report back, because no cameras.
for.
What?
What?
Also, you said
Wait, when
John
were
White,
cameras
and
in?
right away I was like, John Smith,
You're
Pocahontas.
thinking, yeah, Pocahontas.
Yeah. So
no, I don't think that is this guy.
no, the wheels clicked a bit
But
more, and I'm like, wait,
yeah,
not everyone named
I mean,
John
John
is
White
from Pocahontas.
probably like the most common name ever.
It sounds pretty.
It's
common.
not actually, but it is very common.
It's
I think
pretty common to
Muhammad is the
John
most
Smith.
common
I-
name in the whole
it is.
world.
I feel like
It
John
is.
Smith is the most common name
we were
in the
actually-
English-speaking world.
We started watching
Yeah.
a series called Mo, and it's by the comedian Mo Amir. And one of his stand-up comedy things is about how Muhammad is the most common name in the world. He's like, but I cannot
First and
find it on a
last.
keychain anywhere.
That is hilarious.
Sorry,
Wow.
that's actually really funny and like again like racist.
Yeah.
Just
It
like,
very
holy
much.
shit.
Yeah. I
Oh.
guess keychains aren't made for everyone. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
they literally could be, but anyway, that's
Yeah.
God.
I will never complain now about just finding my name spelled wrong.
oh yeah, I never. Well, I mean, Chantel's
So,
name
I
doesn't
never find
exist.
mine
Yeah,
either.
and then
Yeah.
mine's always
I've seen
MEG.
Chantel's, but they're probably never spelled like you.
No, it's not spelled like mine. No.
Yeah.
it has 2
And
L's
Megan
and 2
and
E's.
well, all of our names are spelled a million ways. Like
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
suffer from the
And
same
just
thing.
just
that-
a little
Yeah.
different than what you can find, and like same with like Sarah, with an H without an H.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
Muhammad. I feel
Names.
bad for him.
Okay.
I hope that he finds a keychain one day.
We'll make him one.
Yes.
Make him
So
a
this
Coast one. Send it to him.
attempt,
That's right.
yes, of course. So
I
this
want one too.
attempt and the second time of making a colony was not successful either, but they did bring potatoes back to the UK. So that's how they got potatoes.
Oh my God. And the UK
Oh.
fucking
planted- yeah.
loves potatoes.
Yeah.
I know. So that was like kind of the one good thing. They also brought back tobacco, but for me, like I want potatoes. I don't want tobacco.
Yeah, well, we're
for
not
people who like
smokers.
tobacco. Yay.
Oh my God.
So there was
like,
that too.
I fucking love potato. Like, a nice like baked potato. A little bit of
I
sour
love it
cream.
anyways.
and
I love a
chives.
potato in any form that you'll give it to me. I will eat a potato.
Yeah,
Correct.
potatoes are really good.
Maybe
I've been really
except
into
raw.
actually sweet potato fries in my air fryer
Mm.
lately, and then they feel like
I need
healthier.
an air
'cause they're-
fryer.
But I still want them like fry
Okay, you know
form,
what?
you know?
Healthy or not, like I love a French fry, but sweet potato fries just taste so much more. There's just a lot
sweet
more
potato
going
mash as well. Even just fried sweet potato, like you into
Mm.
it's like sorry, like
I
cooked,
remember
baked.
Sam came over
God.
once, Chantel, and he made the sweet
Mm.
potato puree, and it was like the best thing I'd ever
Oh,
had.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
A
amazing.
little bit of like sage in there and
I think about it
thyme.
every once in a while. I'm like, I want sweet
So
potato puree.
Should we start a
Anyways.
potato podcast? Should we just
Yeah,
like scrap
should.
this whole thing and
Scrap
restart? And...
this,
Yeah.
Start over.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, let's get now into the colony in question, the lost colony of Roanoke.
Mhm.
So in 1587, again, Sir Walter Raleigh sponsored another expedition to the New World with 118 colonists, give or take maybe a couple. I've heard slightly different numbers.
You don't have exact numbers, Lindsay. That's really a
Yeah, I didn't go
professional.
back in time and head count them. But
Yeah, but this one guy kept moving, and you're like, oh my God,
Yes.
stay still. Okay.
They all
exactly.
look the same, so it's hard to
yeah,
tell.
it's really hard to tell.
The gene
And
pool was very
this-
shallow back then.
Just tall white
Probably,
man with
yeah.
a beard.
Tall?
I can't tell.
They're all 5'4".
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. So they were headed by explorer John White that I mentioned earlier, /artist /cartographer, and he would be the governor of this new colony. So they left on May 5th, 1587, departed England, and they sailed to what is now present-day North Carolina, and they landed on Roanoke Island. The exact location is not known, but we know it was on Roanoke Island. I'll show you a map shortly. So the colony was actually intended to go into Chesapeake Bay, which is just inland a bit, but they kind of became stranded on Roanoke, so they just stopped there, and which wasn't as ideal for the colony because the land wasn't as fertile if they had gone in a little bit
Islands
further.
never are as good as you think they are. In hindsight, you're like,
exactly,
maybe,
you're kind of limited a little bit.
yeah, like fresh water would be good, but like whatever. What do I know?
Exactly.
You don't.
So it
I
took
knew
them
that.
a couple of months to get there. They arrived sometime in July. So the colonists consisted of men, women, and children. So the previous one had only been men. So,
That
maybe that's why they
explains it.
didn't last that long.
Sorry. We just talked
Just-
about
well,
being
it-
nicer to men. I'm sorry.
I know. Well,
Okay, but
I just mean like you're not going to like establish a colony with only men. Like how are you going to grow your
Because
colony?
like, how
Yeah.
does babies
That work. How do
Right.
babies?
Exactly. So it just wasn't.
It wasn't prosperous.
Not even a dig at men. You just need women there.
If
to
two
build the
men
home. You
handshake really aggressively, the friction. No.
They butt off.
need- exactly. Make the manliest man ever. So
Yes.
That's so gross to think about. Anyway, I don't want to think about it.
So John White took his own family on the journey, including his wife and daughter, Eleanor White Dare, and her husband, Ananias Dare. And shortly after arriving, his daughter gave birth to her own daughter, Virginia Dare, who would be the first English baby born in North America to like English parents.
Damn.
So you can look at the little photo I put up. This is the
Mhm.
photo to represent that birth.
Look at those cheeks.
I know, little baby.
cheeks.
Also, Dare, that is a big name over there too, or Dare County. So a lot of the naming of places in North Carolina, Virginia area are all
Whenever
coming
you say
from-
dare, I keep wanting to sing like, you get to you.
You can definitely sing that.
Okay,
For,
well,
that should
I
be like
mean-
you put it in any social media post as the song
Okay.
if you'd like.
Sorry.
So very shortly after arrival, John White realized the colonists did not have enough supplies, tools, or really people to be successful. So they were there, he was there for like maybe a month and decided he would sail back August 25th, 1587.
You
So
said
it's
like
like
120-ish, give or take.
118. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you'd think that'd be enough to like get some stuff going.
Yeah.
Like,
But
I don't
also,
know,
like,
like plowing
be
field.
more
Like, I'm not really
prepared if
sure.
you're going to cross the Atlantic. That's a long journey. And then to
Yeah.
just get there and
Oh
be
my
like,
God.
oh, we don't
Well,
have
and
enough
and
stuff.
also like
Like,
this is like their first time actually making it. So you think you'd have all the supplies with you. So if you made
yes.
it, you could really dig in and get things started.
Right. And I think maybe there was some issue too when they were landing. Because, like I said, they were supposed to go to Chesapeake Bay. So maybe there was maybe they lost some supplies. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
things go, it's impressive they even made it across the Atlantic Ocean, I think. Right.
I mean,
That's
yes,
Well,
like
yeah.
always,
because we talk a lot
We
of
talk
shit,
about
but
a
we
lot
like
of
know.
shipwrecks, and yeah.
Right. I mean, it wasn't November in Lake Superior, but it's still the
oh my
Atlantic
God.
Ocean.
No, but
So he decided he would return, but his intention was to gather supplies and return quickly. But unfortunately, the timing of his return was not in their favor.
Mm.
Upon his return, England was on the brink of war with Spain, and Spain had a really impressive armada, so boat army essentially.
I love that word, armada.
I know,
It just
very
sounds
fancy.
nice. Armada.
Yes. So because of this, England was not allowing ships to just leave. They're like, we might need your ship for this war because Spain has all their boats and we want to be able
Have
to
more
win
boats.
if needed. So
Mhm.
it would be 3 years later before he
Oh,
could
wow.
return in August of 1590.
That's nuts,
Damn.
man. And you can't
Yeah,
contact them in any way. Oh my God, that's
right.
scary.
So, to his shock, when he arrived back at the colony, there was not a soul in sight, and the only clue was the word CROATOAN carved into a fence post and the word crow carved into a nearby tree. So, you can look at my next
Okay.
photo. They're trying to figure out the mystery.
And here's where I found the word.
The word.
That must be
um,
so trippy. You show up, and
yeah.
I imagine, okay, so I'm in my head, I'm thinking like the TV show Lost, because that's a huge part of my DNA as a human. And within a few weeks, even, they were developing like sleeping areas, a kitchen area. Like they were, so they have
Mhm.
3 years to probably start developing like shelters and food storage and weapon
Yep.
storage, whatever. And to show up, and that's all empty.
Right. Now we're going to
That's
get into some things of
theories.
what might have, of course. But yeah, it
Aliens.
was one clue. Like, could they have left a better clue? Also, if someone's gone for 3 years, maybe they assumed he like didn't even make it back. Like,
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
if you didn't come back for 3 years, I'd assume that you were never coming back.
Well, I would imagine that after
Or
so
that you
how
died somewhere along the
yeah,
way, and I
how
didn't
how
Right.
know.
long was the
Yeah.
trip again? Like a few months?
It took 2 months to get over there, so I
So
assume it's probably
yeah,
a
so I would say
similar
like
journey.
upwards of, 6 months. I'd be like, "Well, they're not coming." Because if it takes 2
Right.
months, you
I mean,
can
I could
kind of
also see it if it
explain.
was becoming winter, like, okay, maybe he
Oh,
wouldn't come back in the
okay.
winter,
Yeah, no,
but
that's true.
like
So maybe
Mm.
like
the next
upwards of a
summer,
year.
no.
Oh
The
my
summer after
God.
that,
Yeah.
no. Like,
That's so
yeah,
sad.
it's a long time. So the colonists probably had to move or enlist help from the native people there because remember they were running low on supplies
Like
after
the
a month.
Croatoan, who they wrote
Right,
the name on the
after
tree.
a month. So I can imagine 3 years later the supplies would have been really, really dwindled.
Yeah.
So
If any at all.
So after he arrived, John Way attempted to sail south to the Croatoan Islands because, that would make sense based
Mhm.
on the
Mhm.
one clue he has. They're now known as the Hatteras Islands. So he made a couple attempts. Both were unsuccessful due to storms. And then he was forced to retreat, I guess. So he went back to England. But I don't know. It's weird because I'm like, if you're already over there, couldn't you just wait a little longer? Or like,
And like
didn't you come
your
and
wife and grown daughter, her husband and your
and your
granddaughter, and
grandchild?
all those
Like,
people are missing. You're like, damn, like I looked a little bit. I'm just gonna go.
Well, like I did
yes.
this and I
What the
couldn't see
heck?
them, so I left.
Um,
And it's so
another
challenging to get there. And so yeah, like once you're there, I would exhaust
Exhaust
every
all option, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine going back without like knowing or at least not. I would try more than twice, maybe.
Yeah.
What
But
the hell?
there could have been like reasons, maybe like his something wrong with his boat or I don't know. And he's like, if I don't make it back now, I'm never going to. Who knows? Or maybe he just
Mm.
assumed they
Mm.
were gone. I don't know. Another attempt was made to find the colonists by Sir Walter Raleigh. He sent maybe someone else, but it seemed like this was maybe a half-assed attempt because
not
remember
like
he
the
had
first
7
time.
years to colonize, right? And if it was
Mhm.
proven that the colonists were dead for sure, then that he would run out of his 7-year period and he would no longer have any rights to go colonize more, at least not under Queen Elizabeth
Oh,
first.
okay.
So it's possible that maybe he just didn't try as much as he could have. It's unclear, but
Because if you don't know what happened, they could be alive still, technically.
exactly. So it's like, hey, like we have no reason to believe they're dead. So I
Yeah, like
guess
we didn't stumble
they just
we
moved
didn't stumble upon
somewhere.
a bunch of dead bodies. We just
Right.
Well,
well,
at
And
we
they
that
stumbled
point,
didn't
upon
find
it'd
them.
be
any
like
bodies.
it'd be
They found like
skeletons.
almost no evidence that they were there apart from the message.
Yeah, so weird.
So meanwhile, John White did return to the UK and end up living the rest of his life in Ireland, where he eventually died knowing nothing of what become of his family. So
I hope that
wonder
he
how he
at
felt
least
about that.
cared. It doesn't seem like he.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
he
hope he had some
did.
sleepless
I think
nights.
he. I mean, I assume he did.
Yeah.
Maybe he was also told to not pursue it too hard because
Retreat
of.
or yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I don't like it.
And to this day, no bodies or mass graves were ever found, and there's numerous theories. Well, a handful of theories as to what might have happened. So I'm going to get into them right now.
And
So
this reminds me, I do want to finish watching American Horror Story.
I actually haven't watched that season, so I'll have to
I
watch
think
it.
I watched the
I'm
It's
first
not
really
sure
good.
couple.
how
I liked
accurate it
it.
is to the real
Oh,
story
it's
or
not
not.
Okay,
but-
probably at all.
Chantel, is that
It's all
the
the ghost story
is
parts
that
of
the
it.
one where it's kind
Yeah.
of like an interview setup when it first starts, like a true crime interview at the beginning?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so I've seen
And
a few
then
episodes.
there's also, did you guys ever watch Supernatural? The
Yes.
the
I'm
TV series?
no.
There is an episode on Roanoke on that too. I remember
Okay,
because it's called
I'm-
CROATOAN.
I'm actually gonna make a note.
Oh,
because
yes.
this
Yeah,
is
I do recall
research.
this.
Because I was like, why do I remember this name? And I was like, right,
I
Supernatural.
also have never seen that show, and I
Oh
love Gilmore
my
Girls. I know,
God.
and you would think that I would have, but
Get on it. Okay.
Yep.
Natural. It's called
Anyways,
It's good. I
Croatoan.
felt like it kind of got off like I don't know.
Oh, it
I
did.
was
It went a
less
little bit
into
more
it.
godlike.
Yeah.
Oh,
But the first
Three,
couple
four.
yeah, they were really good. It was kind of like felt like watching like almost Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like kind of for me, like I was into it like that at that level.
God, I freaking love
I think
that
it
show.
got weird once Dean went to hell, or did Sam go to hell?
Yes,
One of them went to hell and came back.
I find hell fascinating. So if that means that then heaven has to exist, whatever. Like I also love Constantine. That's
No, it
about
was just
God.
like how the show went after
Oh,
that it got a little.
preachy.
Anyways, it doesn't. It's just weird. It's just
Okay.
it just
Yeah.
went different. Yeah. Anyways, we're not here for that.
comment
We're
and-
here
and-
for
Comment and write in your thoughts on Supernatural and where you think it went
There we
wrong.
go.
Exactly. Please do. So the first theory is that they were simply killed by the Native Americans of the area. The leader of a failed expedition before them was named Ralph Lane, and this was the second expedition. He was not very, I guess, diplomatic, and he treated the the First Nations people very poorly. He was essentially on their land and being an asshole and terrible to them, and
It's like every colonizer ever, but
yeah, probably killing them and terrible things like that. So
yeah.
Mhm.
after that experience, one could argue that the next batch of people, they might not like so much.
Yeah, totally.
So,
Mhm.
it's a reasonable enough theory, but there's really no proof that this happened. So they didn't find any mass bodies. They're like, okay, did they get rid of the bodies? Like, I don't know. It's hard to say, but there literally is just no evidence of any mass murder or graves. Now, there are other theories that like maybe some of them were killed, which very well could be true, but the likelihood of maybe all of them just being slaughtered is
Unlikely.
there's just no evidence there on the island where they were. So
Do you go into like in current times any like excavation stuff? Do you touch on that at
I'm
all?
going to touch on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I will
yes.
sip it.
So originally when I said Manteo, one of the Croatoan tribe members that had gone to England, he came back with them on that journey in 1587 with the families.
And he went home?
well, he was going to be basically when John White returned to England to get more supplies, he left Manteo in charge, sort of, because
Oh,
you know the area and you know the language. So kind of trusting him to lead the colonists while he was gone.
Okay.
So he was part of the Croatoan tribe. So, and that is actually where the Croatoan people were located. So you go to my next photo. This is just a map, and the first star is Roanoke Island in North Carolina, and then the bottom star, my map, is Hatteras Island, Croatoan Island.
sorry. The names in this photo are wild. Alligator River, Gum
Stumpy
Neck.
Point.
I
Kill Devil
I think
Hills.
Duck, Kitty Hawk.
Kitty Hawk.
wow. Okay,
I like
well,
it.
let's
Someone
go.
had fun naming this
Duck.
area.
Avon?
Gum
Avon,
Neck.
that's a great Queens of the Stone Age song. Just saying.
Oh, I can't. Okay, sing it to me.
It's from their very first album. No, I'm not.
Yeah, sing the
Okay.
whole one. Thank you.
Also, I worked for Avon, which is like a makeup door-to-door sales when I was a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
Lived, was not killed.
There we go. That's good.
My grandfather worked for Avon back
I
in
think
like,
I remember
the
we talked about this
70s.
before. Yes,
Yeah,
because
like,
we
he
were
was
like,
really,
was he your boss?
Well, my grandfather
I
was
was my
like,
own
really high up,
boss.
I think,
Yeah.
in the company, so probably
So
not.
kind of, yeah. No, but he kind of is. He's her boss's boss's boss.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
Okay, so I
Okay,
didn't
so
realize there's like a
up-
whole little strip of islands that kind of go all
Exactly.
around the coast
Yeah,
here.
and are these like attached? Like, is this actually attached by
Looks
a road?
like some
there?
could be.
it looks like it is attached,
Like this number
to
12
some
or
degree.
whatever.
Oh yeah, that would be a highway. Well,
That'd
not
be
a
a highway,
highway,
right?
a road.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how
Well,
intense the road is.
maybe
up there.
there's bridges.
Probably bridges,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
should have
boats
gone
and
there
such,
and
and
done the route
ferries and
for this.
that and such.
Yeah.
Now.
There must be, I think there are like probably ferries now, but I'm not
Normally
sure
the
how they would have
ferries are
got
the little
there.
like that little dotted dash line down there. Those are the ferries.
Yeah.
So they must just
Now,
have
they
bridges
did
to
have
connect
some
this whole
supplies.
road.
They could have made boats. Plus, there are like Croatoan tribe members there that probably know how to make
Oh
a
yeah, I'm
boat.
sure that the natives of the area had boats.
So it does seem plausible that, when things are dire, he could have been like, well, let's go here and like my people will help us and you can basically kind of join us. And later, so this is to your point, Megan, there were artifacts found in that area on Croatoan Island, Hatteras Island, from the time period. So it was hard to determine if they were exactly from the Roanoke colonists, but they did seem to line up with that like English artifacts from that time period.
Yeah. It's still very creepy, but that's always what I have thought because if there's, 118 people, then they're more or less abandoned and people are definitely dying or getting sick and malnourished. And, humans can be terrible, but humans can also be really kind and empathetic. And if there's already that kind of tribe connection where there's a little bit of trust built, I can easily see how the Croatoans are trying to help them. Then they think, you know what, it's been a year and a half, your people aren't coming back. We're established, like come down to where we are. I would go in a
Right.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of tribes were like pretty like friendly and open with these
Well, they had no
people.
reason not. I mean, I know that there was
right.
you
Some
know,
of them had
fighting among
reasons not to
tribes,
be,
but
and some obviously like, hey, who are you? You're on my land. But where they already had Manteo and he spoke the language, it's just like it seems
And was
plausible
kind of like the
that
translator between the two of them and
yeah.
was
right. And
in
essentially it seemed like he was there to kind of left there to protect them anyway.
protect them. Yeah.
This theory also says like there was probably colonists mingling with the Native American people in this area.
Hooking up.
So there's lots of potential descendants that have claimed to come from these Roanoke colonists. So they have evidence that they have like gray eyes.
Sounds
the
beautiful.
problem is, yeah. So they think they'll do DNA and determine it's like you have European ancestry, but it's impossible for them to determine with absolute certainty that they're from the Roanoke tribe members
No.
because we just don't have DNA from them. So, and it's so long ago. I'm not sure even how. Maybe you could probably still match the DNA, but if we don't have anything to compare it to, it's hard to definitively prove this.
I would still say it that I was just because like what a cool like dinner party story.
Exactly. I'm sure some people do. And they probably have good reason to believe that it's true, especially if they're from that Croatoan tribe,
Or if
as
they can
descended.
if they can trace back their ancestors on both sides like pretty far, you can just
Yeah.
start to
I know some
assume.
people like on these ancestry tests are like, oh, I'm related to like this famous person from like, I don't know, 10 generations back. It's like, how do you find that? Or like, how do you know? I don't
My brother did that, and he is like 82% Neanderthal, which means that I'm 82% Neanderthal, or I have DNA anyway. I don't know, but it was not good.
Neanderthal.
It explains my feet though. So I feel like I'm really discovering myself.
Isn't that like
You guys like
a
butted off a
somewhat
long time ago.
extinct?
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
are extinct.
So there's
This
something
is
about
like millions of years ago that
How
you
could
guys
you be that?
separated
How could you
paths.
be
okay. So
82% Neanderthal?
I'm definitely saying it wrong. So it's not Neanderthal DNA, but it's like
Okay.
it's like
I was like,
82%
it's impossible.
more like DNA markers than other people. Does
Oh,
that make
okay. So
any
you're
does
more
that make
similar, but you're a Homo sapien.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just clarifying.
We're just checking.
But I do love a
Okay.
cave. So it's
So,
all starting
it's
to make
all making
sense.
sense.
Story
Yeah,
checks
yeah.
out. And you do
Um
have the biggest feet of all of us.
like
You
I
do.
don't
I just assume Neanderthal.
Even though
and
you're the
I'm
shortest.
and I'm the shortest. Now
Yeah,
the
the shortest.
shortest not by like an incredible amount, but still it just really adds like salt into the wound that
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're like an inch apart, I think.
if,
Maybe.
if anyone has done 23andMe and knows what I'm talking about, you know that I sound ridiculous. Like I'm not Neanderthal, but there's some kind of wording where
Isn't
it's
this podcast just us always sounding ridiculous with what we're
Yeah.
saying?
yeah,
I
probably.
think that's it. Yeah, yeah.
You know what? So
Okay.
then it just stands. I'm crazy and I'm also a Neanderthal. So
Yeah. I wanna see your results though. I'm very curious.
well, you don't have to. I can show you
We're gonna
Connor's
Google this afterwards.
because
I
it's the
had
same.
I did the ancestry one and it just started to give like traits and stuff. And the traits were like comparing you to like Olympic athletes. And I was like, oh, I wonder what traits I have in common with Olympic athletes. I
I'm
have all
scared.
their worst traits in common. Like the people who have like slower heart recovery rates and the people who are like more likely to like sleep in or like nap or something. I'm like, what?
That
It's
is
like all their weakest points are like, you're matched. I'm like,
it's like you
with
got
their
all like all the
weaknesses?
leftover stuff.
I know. I'm like, I think I only had like one
Oh,
complimentary trait
that's
at all. I
funny.
was like,
that just
wow.
reminds me of in the movie Twins. Remember with Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, where
DeVito.
Danny DeVito was like the leftover crap
Oh.
DNA.
That's how I felt. I'm like very insulted.
Again, that's why I really like just I love that movie. I really identify
Yeah.
with Danny.
Oh,
big
the
time.
one compliment thing I got, which was felt like, I don't know if it's even a really compliment, that I was determined. So I'm like, okay. So I
Despite
might
my
fail
many,
and suck,
many,
but like I'm determined
many
to
faults.
still somehow come through.
I'll still keep trying no matter what.
Yeah, I'll keep trying even though I keep failing, and I
Even though
have
the odds are
Even though your
stacked
heart's
average
gonna
against
give
me.
out.
recovery rate for my heart. I'm also considered to be I tend to move towards being less strong, which is true. But yeah, not many Olympic athlete traits there.
Listen,
so.
you can carry 2 kids. I think you're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did something. I've exercised, so there's
Yeah.
I mean, not recently, but I
Exercised
have done
once.
it.
yeah.
Done it before in my
I
life.
know.
I know what the inside of a gym looks like.
I can swim
mostly.
fast. So there's that. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
But okay, I do want to talk about this, and before I forget, though, I will get Connor, or I'll get the stuff from him, and I'll send it over so you can see my.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Because
want to
really,
see it.
like, his stuff will be like what my stuff is, because we're siblings, you know.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not right.
I know. I'm gonna tell my brother he's also a weakling too. Although maybe he got all the better Olympic DNA. I don't
Maybe.
know.
It's like in
So.
Twins. Telling you.
We are all Danny. # we are Danny.
We are Danny.
Yes, my brother is definitely stronger than me. So
That's
he's got
just
that
men.
going
It's
for
not
him.
fair. Damien
I
doesn't
know.
work out at all, and then he can like crack me in half if he wants to. I don't understand. It's just
That's
rude.
fair.
Okay, let's get back
All
on
right,
track.
theory
to this
3. We have another
super scary
theory.
thing. Okay.
And I mean, some of these are like overarching. You have the theory of that they were killed or that they assimilated, or the kind of
Mhm.
overarching theories. But here's another more specific theory. So, Governor John White, he might have actually returned and found that the colonists actually moved inland instead of down to this other Croatoan island. So
Okay.
he created a detailed map. You can look at my next photo, and then you can actually go to the photo right after it. I decided to highlight specific parts of the map. So you'll see the one on the circle on the right. That's Roanoke Island, and then there's a circle on the left. So do you see anything in that circle
The
vaguely?
circle.
Like some kind of
Alright.
indent or erased part.
Mm-hmm.
It actually kind of looks like he started to draw one of those crest things and then erased it.
So at first glance, you can't really see it, but you just see that something happened there. So he had actually covered something over on the map, and it actually became like he made it like a secret. Um, you had to like shine a light behind it in order to see what was there. Isn't that
Was it
cool?
made in pee?
This is some national treasure
Yeah,
shit.
it was
Was
one
it
of those like invisible like ink
pee?
things.
Yeah, it's
Lemon
Yeah.
pee.
juice?
Was it lemon
Okay,
juice?
it's pee.
Pee?
Do you pee lemon juice? See a
All right.
doctor.
So
No, you
someone
can do
might
it
have
with
peed
pee
on this
too.
map.
Or lemon juice.
Okay, but I'm just saying, man, what did they have more of back then? Probably pee.
No, they definitely had more pee. Like scurvy was a thing.
Yeah,
So
I know. Thank you.
So I meant to put the
Not in
picture of the
Florida.
actual. I forgot to put a picture of the actual star that you can see. I'll send it to you later, Chantal.
Okay.
On the video.
and we'll also add that onto
But there's
the
like
Instagram too.
Here.
like a star thing underneath there at the location. So this gave way to theories that maybe that is where the colony went, but then maybe he hid it because he didn't want people to necessarily know. But then he invisible inked it because he wanted some people to know. So we don't
So
know
wait,
who we
who
wanted to
drew
know.
this map?
John White. Remember, he's the
Okay.
he was the
Yes,
cartographer.
yes. Okay.
So
That
which
was
is
with them.
actually this map was considered like one of like the best examples of cartography for the time,
It
because
is
remember they didn't
pretty
have
good.
yeah, they didn't have any sort of, Google Earth at their
No,
disposal.
maps
So
being made back then is amazing.
yeah,
Like,
it's very
even
accurate.
even if they're a little off, I'm like, it's like still incredible that someone
Yeah.
could do that. And it's not just from a
Yeah.
boat. Like they must have had to go along the shore too.
And
But
yes,
it's
they would have had
just
to like walk it,
Yeah,
do
going all the
boats, like all of that,
inlands, like it's
find all the
really
lakes.
impressive.
so. Lindsay, what is the motive behind the leader of the colony who, like, for
Yeah.
all intents and purposes, abandoned them for 3 years? What is the motive there to hide it if he found his people? Because they didn't abandon, they just moved for a better spot. But, like, I don't get why he would want to cover that up.
Yeah, so there could be, I don't know, lots of theories of why this happened, but basically maybe he simply, or maybe he found them, they were gone and didn't want the whole 7-year thing to be up for Walter Raleigh. Maybe he made him do it. Other things could be that he simply, they didn't want to share their location. I'm not sure. Like I have no idea really. But
They didn't want England to find them.
he clearly,
But, like,
if
they're
he this
from
is
England on
true.
purpose. Like, that makes no sense. I would say it's almost like there was some kind of resource that he wanted to, like, keep secret. Like, he would maybe tell the king and queen, or sorry, the queen and king,
Yeah.
but maybe not have it, like, out for everyone to see. Because the whole point was to colonize. So if they did colonize, why would you hide that? That was the whole goal in the first place.
It is a good question. It's
Answer,
not really
Lindsay. Tell me the
clear to me
answer.
why.
All right, me and
Um,
ChatGPT are gonna have a conversation later.
They'll have the answer for sure.
But there is evidence that they could have gone to this area. So it is very well
Right.
that they could have gone there. So which might answer your question a little bit more once I get to this part. There's other theories that a lot of the colonists were actually dead at this point. So they had made it, and then some of the Native Americans in the area killed them. And they were down to just a handful of people, 7 colonists. So there could have been something around that, or maybe he didn't find, maybe he had found evidence of them being there, but didn't find them per se. So
Okay.
it
You
may
know,
have
I
been.
do have a Ouija board.
We
Should
can ask.
we?
You can ask. I won't be partaking.
Yeah, actually, you know what?
I'm
I'm
too
not going
scared.
to. I don't think I need to know. I can get better things to use it for. So we'll
I'm sure
wait.
other people have, so we
Yes.
can just research that.
Ask ChatGPT if they have
I
any
will.
info. I say they
Info.
because they're
Okay.
a robot.
Yeah.
So there is some archaeological evidence in the area that could indicate settlers from this time period might
Hmm.
have been there. But again, it's hard to say for 100% certainty that this was from this colony. So, but I think it was from the time period and no one else was there. Story could check out,
I
right?
mean,
Like how
both
how else, who
things
else is there?
both
And
things
unless
could be true. They could
they
have gone
can't date
there to
it
settle.
perfectly,
Yeah.
but they're
But
pretty good at dating things.
I wonder if
So
maybe like
Mhm.
not that the colony split up, maybe they went inland thinking like this would be better and it was still very challenging. And then they went down to the Croatoan Island after. Or maybe the
yeah,
colony split up and there were some that were like,
yeah, some
no,
could have
I
gone
want to,
somewhere.
do things on our own, England, yeah, all that stuff. And the other
Mhm.
ones were like, well, we want to live. So we're going to go with the people that have been here for millennia and live with them.
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Maybe you answer this. What was the point of crow being written somewhere?
My guess is that they were starting to write the hint there, and then they were like, maybe the fence is better.
I keep
Oh, like it was
thinking,
CRO, not CROW.
Yeah, no, CRO. So like they
Oh,
started
okay.
writing it,
I was
and then they're
thinking like
like,
crow. I'm like, as the
maybe
crow
over
flies, like.
here.
so I keep thinking of Monty Python when they're in the cave and the guy is Ray on the wall and he dies as he's writing.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I
Yes.
thought. Crota.
Right. That
So
could have been very well. Maybe
that's
someone
what
else
I
was trying to
think
write
it
a
was.
second hint or clue, and they were taken out or had to go suddenly.
Can you imagine you
I
die
guess
I mean,
so.
mid-word? That's
if
so
you could only
dramatic.
leave one word clue,
Well, it fucked up
like,
Chantel, so maybe that wasn't the call.
yes.
What does the
So my
crow have to
next,
do with it?
Well, I was
the
thinking
whole time you've been thinking about this
CROW. I'm
crow.
like, where
That's
does
fair.
this crow come in to play? I'm like, is that
I,
like
I
the?
I didn't have a picture of that like drawing of
That's
it,
fine.
so
Maybe there's like a crow god.
Maybe
maybe.
that's why I was so confused. I was
I know, it's okay.
stop
So there
yelling
is
at me.
another piece of evidence, in which case, and if this is good evidence, it would kind of make me wonder why they couldn't have wrote more before. But um, there was a stone found in 1937 by the Chowan River, which is a river basically just north of that spot on the map that I showed you.
Okay.
And you can take a look at my next photo to take a look at this stone. It appeared to be written by Eleanor White Dare, the daughter of John White.
Oh, this is creepy old
Mm.
English. What the hell?
Yes. And I'm going to read,
Yeah.
I'll read it to you guys.
Oh,
I was
Don't
gonna say
thank
I
worry.
don't know
God,
this.
because I can only make out the word heaven and the year 1591
1591. Yeah.
and maybe the
Yes.
word end with a W.
So the first side of the stone says Ananias Dare and Virginia went
Hence.
hence.
Oh, Virginia died.
Yes,
Unto
into heaven,
heaven.
1591. So her daughter and her husband. Yeah.
Oh, and her daughter was just a. Oh no, that was a mom, right? Not the baby. Or no, the baby was named
No, the baby
Virginia.
was Virginia. Yes.
Oh.
And there was one theory that maybe when they were attacked by the Native Americans of that area, they were killed, and that's why only 7 or so remained at this point.
Mm.
Um, Ein Englishman shoe John White, governor. So again, she might have been leaving this for her father to find.
Okay.
Side 2 says, Father, soon after you go for England, we come hither. Only misery and wear, 2 year maybe, above half deed ere toe. Year more sickness being 4 and 20. See, this is all either Old English or she doesn't know what she's saying.
And she really would have benefited from a
Salvage a
ruler.
message of ship unto us, or bring us a ship. Small space of time. I'm trying to read between the lines a little bit. We believe it not you. Maybe there was a ship coming in and they thought it
Oh,
That's
was
but it
them.
wasn't.
creepy.
Okay.
Yeah. Soon after,
Maybe it's in Spain.
salvages feigns spirits angry. Maybe the First Nations people were angry with them. Sudden mother, I'll save 7. Mine child. Oh, so Ananias slain.
Was that her husband?
I think so. Barry, east of river. Names written on rock. Put this there also. Salvage through this unto you, and hither we promise to give you great plenty presents. EWD.
EWD.
Which is Elizabeth.
White Dare.
Wow.
So, what happened after the finding of this stone in the following 3 years was actually a lot of people were talking about Roanoke again at this time because it was the 350th anniversary of
Damn.
the colony, and the colony being lost sometime in that 3 years. So other stones started popping up, and there were 42 in total. But it was
wow.
deemed that all but the first stone were fake. It was like one guy who was writing them, and
You know what? It was the 30s. Whatever. You know what? Get your bag and get out. It's fine.
right. They're like, yeah, you wrote this, and we can tell. So
He's like, what do you mean? As he's jizzling a stone
but
on the
You
bus.
just see them in the back, like there's a pile of them.
right. But it also delegitimized
The first stone.
the first stone
one.
because people are like, well, is that one real? So some specialists theorize that it is real. Others are still skeptical. So it depends probably on who you ask. But they kind of checked out, whereas the stuff on the other stones was like the names were all wrong and the stuff they did know wasn't right. So, and even the Old English was off. So
I was gonna say you'd have to
this-
really know that in order to even try and pull that off.
right. And I mean, you're writing on a stone, like there's no eraser easily. So like,
God damn it. Just a pile full of stones of spelling mistakes.
yeah,
That would be me.
that's why there's 42 stones. You just kept to,
Yeah.
He's
No,
just
I'm
trying to make
kidding,
one copy and he just is really bad at it.
yes. Yeah. The other guy was just trying to, make a few bucks with his fake stones. But it is interesting, and it was found around that area, so in that river. They don't know I think the exact location where it was found because the guy who found it. I think he he probably forgot where he found it, or he wasn't remembering correctly. But it could lead to that theory that they did go inland. So that's another place that they could have gone.
Mm.
But I think you said it, Megan, like it's quite possible, I think, that they could have gone to both places.
And I don't mean like the whole crew went to one, then the other, but they could have divided and conquered, and went wherever they felt the most safe.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
this stone is so crazy. It kind of
It
reminds
really
me
is.
of From, that show that's like
Oh,
kind of,
yeah, I started
I
watching.
need to
wanna
get back into
watch
that.
it's so
that show.
like, it makes
It
no
looks
fucking
so.
sense.
I watched the first episode was so scary.
Like if Lost
Mhm.
made you want to like curse the skies, this
Yeah.
one makes you just question like, why do you even keep watching? But you can't stop watching.
Yeah, it's really well rated too.
Yeah,
Are they
it's
able
frustrating because
to?
they do cool lore, then they never
Yeah.
explain. They add more. It's very very lost. It's very losty. Still love it
Mhm.
though. But
Are they able to date this stone at all to help with its legitimacy? Or I guess it would kind of be like all the
1591.
stones around there. Well, I mean,
kidding.
besides that,
Right.
yeah, because like the
this
stone
one-
itself is like all
are they
stones
able
are
to
old.
tell like how long ago that was engraved in? Like, is there anything like that they're
Yeah,
able
so
to do
some
with it? Or?
experts do believe that it is legitimately from that time period.
Okay.
It's just, some people are still skeptical, but I think a lot of that
course.
skepticism, like I said, came from
all the
that.
frauds.
But there's just no one can 100% prove it either.
Mhm.
So,
I mean, it looks
but
pretty
I
legitimate. Like knowing
I
nothing.
think people say it's from that time period. Like no one else is over there, like writing on stones, pretending all this happened.
But then I guess
So-
like where are the bodies then? Like if all but 7 died, that means that there should be 111 bodies somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and they never found any mass graves, but they could have been different places. Maybe
Could
they
have
put
been
them in the
burned.
water.
Burned
yeah,
and
I don't
destroyed. There's
know.
all kinds of things. Like I don't really know about how like different tribes would
Right,
process
but
their
they
dead.
might, if they
but
like murdered them, they might not give them
They
their
wouldn't have
bodies
given
the
them like a
same
proper burial. yeah.
burial. I mean, maybe they would because they still consider it life. I don't know,
Yeah.
but they
It
might
could
not
have
go to
been-
that same ceremonial extent they
it
would.
could have
for
been a
their own
combination
people.
of like maybe there were some fights, but it wasn't even like colonists versus the Croatoans. It could have been Croatoans versus other tribes, and these guys got in the mix. People could have gotten sick. It could have just been a bunch of things. So maybe it's not all like aggressive. It's just, I mean, to be a colonist way back then, like everyone was dying from the common cold. Like it was insane.
Yeah, because it does make it weird that like they would spare 7. Like
I just think
if
that the
they were
colony
actually if they were actually like
Hmm.
trying to fight them, I don't think that they would spare anybody. They would have just
No,
taken all of them. So yeah, it does seem more likely that they were in the middle of something.
of just like
Yeah.
trying to survive. So maybe then they didn't have any help from the indigenous people, and they just kind of like
Yeah.
died on
Now,
their own.
they might have buried obviously some of the people together if they were attacked and
Hmm.
she might have I think she even said in the stone, if it's real, where her husband was buried or something about
Well,
him
it
being
seems like
buried.
this
Maybe
rock
that
was supposed to
is
be left there, but
like yeah,
it's
maybe
like
that is
maybe
their
it got
grave
moved at
marker.
some point, or
Yeah.
Like a
because the
buffalo
guy
kicked
can't
it
even
or
really remember
something.
where he or anything did. Anything
Yeah.
disrupted it. So
Yeah.
hmm.
So it's hard to say. But yeah, maybe um like I said, John White might have found the area. Like if he did put it on the map, maybe he went there and only maybe he found stuff like this too, but decided not to share it for whatever reason. Maybe he wanted to protect them.
I think
I,
that if he would
you
have
know,
found this rock, he would have taken it. So I don't think anyone saw this
yeah,
until it was
No,
found.
but maybe that's why he erased something off the map. Maybe it was something very disturbing that he didn't want them
Mm.
to
yeah, it's
go
really tough
back
to
for.
say.
So he
But
raced
you
off
think
the
if he
map, but then
found them,
people
like
would have
he'd want
still
to stay
discovered it
with
at some point.
them,
Like,
or yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
really hard to say. But it does look like he definitely covered something up on the map. Whether it was just like,
Lindsay,
oops, a mistake,
Lindsay, I thought
or
that I would have more answers. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought that I'd be like,
I.
oh, and that's the story.
Well, do you want to know the final theory?
Yes,
Well, is it
yes.
aliens?
It's aliens.
Is it really?
Yes, which just because the settlers vanished without a trace and there's no bodies,
Except
that some
she's like,
people
oh
put
wait,
that out
can I
there.
just ran this rock really quick? Yes, okay, you have 5
Yeah.
minutes round the rock. Okay, now we
Maybe
gotta
they were
go.
telling her what to write.
Maybe they
But
Maybe they
lasered
wrote
the
it.
equally,
rock.
Yeah, with their lasers. Yeah.
Laser
yes, there
eyes.
is no evidence that this theory makes any sense. So I just mentioned it because people will bring it up or like,
Well,
have that
you
supernatural
have to
element.
mention
But
it.
Well, that was like
exactly.
when I was telling them the Mary Celeste story. Like aliens have to be at least an option, just considered
Hmm.
an option.
Exactly. But all in all, I think the most realistic one I think people say is that they probably assimilated and, um, we do have probably people who have that in their DNA today. Um,
That's nuts.
I mean, very possible. Uh, but that's probably the most likely thing, especially where they had, like I said, Manteo, and he was able to speak the
Both
language.
languages, yeah.
It makes sense that they were going to try to survive. Yes, maybe some of them might have been killed, or maybe they died because it's a survival thing. Like you're not having all the luxuries you had when you were in England. So it's just interesting because we don't know maybe exactly where they went or what happened, and maybe the stone is just a hoax too. Who knows? But
God, I hope not. Just
Yeah.
still
yeah,
the thought of like, I know from watching at least one video way back when, it could have been the BuzzFeed one.
hmm
They stopped at the island, like you said, Lindsay, because like those boats are way too big to go closer. And then they have smaller boats, so they
yeah,
kind of go inland. So just the thought of getting to like step one and then checking where your colony should be, maybe not thriving, but should exist, and it's a
yes.
ghost town. That thought is so creepy.
Right. And you're like, all you've been thinking about for 3 years is getting back to your family. And
And your
then
whole family is there.
they're, yeah, and they're gone and there's
That's
no
so scary.
trace.
Well, there's a
It
trace,
still
there's
is weird to
a
me that
word
you
written on a
didn't
post.
wait to go over because this is your last chance to like
Hey,
find them.
does it say exactly how many weeks or whatever he spent, like, going up and down the coast trying to find the
I
colony,
didn't see
or
how many weeks, but I just read that he made a couple attempts but had to stop because of storms. And then he tried to make a third attempt, and then I think he was probably, I think he was somebody who was renting his boat too. We had to bring the boat back.
I
um,
wish I knew a time frame, because if it was, like, a few weeks, like, because I know that back
yeah,
then things just took a lot longer, like, that's
right.
not really a lot of time to like, actively spend trying to find
Mm,
120
right.
people.
And this is like, I don't know like if the storms were like for like weeks on end or like what
No,
what
there's no
the deal
way.
was. Like is it like, hey, I was gonna go on Tuesday, but it was stormy, so I was like, I'll go on Thursday. Oh, it's stormy. All right, I'm
We
gonna
have
leave.
talked about so many, like, what was, I think it was also the Mary Celeste, that they had to
Mhm.
delay their trip by a couple days because
Yeah,
of weather. It's never weeks on weeks. So I'm just trying to, like,
right. It
I
doesn't
wish I
make
knew the
sense to me,
timeline more.
and it's not that far. Like, and you could
No.
probably go inland by in between the islands and the
Yeah. And
mainland.
obviously, like, not with your big ship. You have smaller vessels. So maybe,
Right.
like,
I
the
mean, maybe
water
his
was
ship
too
was really
rough.
big. I don't know, and
But
that
I mean,
it
but like
limited.
if you have a giant, like, I don't know the name, but you know, like the way you think of like a pirate ship. You have a giant ship,
Yeah.
you cannot go close to the shore because you'll beach the ship. So you have smaller boats
Right.
that take you to shore. So maybe those boats were still not good enough if the water was rough. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm just trying to make it make sense.
Yeah. Or maybe he was hiding it for some reason. He didn't want them to know where they were, or who knows.
That's weird.
So,
Well, I thought I was gonna
yeah.
get like a definitive
A
answer.
definitive answer. I mean, some people say that it's been solved and just that they probably assimilated. So, but
Yeah, but
there's not.
we solved it. They probably assimilated.
Yeah, that's not really a
Right.
solving. That's a we're gonna give a plausible explanation without any real grounds or evidence.
Exactly.
And then the stone, if the stone is real, that kind of goes against kind of what
And
they
what about
said.
like all these hauntings and stuff of Roanoke that you like hear about? Did you go into any of that at all?
Oh, what's that?
What about the hauntings in
Oh,
Roanoke and stuff like that?
I
Did you go
didn't
into
actually
any of
do the
that?
hauntings.
Okay.
Megan can cover
Chantel,
those.
you're up.
We may have to cover this then because
You're up.
I mean it does seem I mean I guess take everything with a grain of salt when you're talking about hauntings, but like
Yeah. I
it's like
didn't get
there's a
into
lot of
that
activity in
because
these areas.
I knew that just covering this would probably bring us to about an hour.
Which it
So
has.
if
Over time.
Megan would like to cover that, or Chantal, but
I feel like
Okay.
Chantel had the bug just then. I'm happy to do it too, but
We can
I don't know.
we'll figure it's okay. We can figure that out later. We don't need to figure
it
out
could
right
always be
now.
something we do
Ghosts are
at like
coming.
Halloween,
Yeah.
right? Or
Oh
something
yeah, there
like
we
that.
go. There
Or,
we
you
go.
know, just like
Um,
the next episode, whatever.
but yeah. Oh, here's
Um,
so one of the people who say it's like solved say they probably went to that Croatoan island because that's where the clue was, and it makes sense with
Totally makes sense.
Manteo, their chief, taking them there. Um, and when you think about it too, like the map thing and the stone could just be like these wild theories, like ancient aliens type stuff, where it's like,
If
okay,
the
you're or
stone,
like even that the Oak Island show where
oh
they're
my
like finding
God,
stuff
that
out of
goddamn
nothing.
island. If the stone is real, which it could be, it still could be like what I said before, where maybe the
Mhm.
colony is split into two. And
Yeah.
so the secondary colony had a really, really rough time. And back then it would have been like very challenging to
Yeah.
get there if, there's no boat. Or maybe they had small
Yeah.
boats, but whatever it is, they were kind of like separate. And so this other colony had a rough go and they died off, whereas maybe the other half of the colony
Hmm.
thrived or assimilated and just kind of moved
Yeah.
through. So who knows?
I mean, maybe the stone had been moved before too. Who knows if it is real?
I gotta know if that
But
stone's real. It looks super real.
yeah,
mhm.
it
I
just
mean
makes
like
me
it's a real
like,
stone, but
Oh,
like
sorry. Yeah, duh.
yeah.
Wait a minute. This is chocolate.
it's been styrofoam all along. Like
I
like the
meant
stone's real.
I
Yeah.
meant the
I
carvings
get
on
it.
the stone.
can get it. I get
It
it.
looks, yeah.
It does,
So
like, I like the theory of them going to Croatoan Island because it seems with the artifacts and the evidence
like
of
that is evidence. So that's what
people,
I'm
like,
gonna
at
go
least
with.
having European settlers in their DNA. I don't know. It just seems like it could make sense. So it's
And also,
Mm,
if you are the daughter of the governor, quote unquote, I can see
mhm.
you being like, no, we're gonna keep the colony just us. We don't want to get involved with anyone else. We want to do it on our own. So I can almost see it like a
yeah.
fraction and it divides up. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I mean,
I mean,
also people have made really good fakes before too. So
I
I mean,
hope it's not fake. It's a cool
I know. I
stone.
hope it's not either, but also like it makes me like question what
It
I
also makes sense that
originally
it would be
thought.
fake. Like it totally
Listen,
makes
yeah, it
sense.
like it seems less like the assimilation and all of that then happened. It sounds like they kind of went on their own and got caught in something, or maybe they didn't have such a good time with the natives of the
Yeah.
area, or like
Yeah.
there's a lot of other things that could have went down if this was the case.
I mean, you think about it, like sometimes the answer is just the easiest one, and they
Occam's
literally put
razor.
the word on the tree or the fence
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
went
Like you write a
there.
note and you're like,
It's like,
gone,
we are going to.
gone to Halifax. What the hell does that
Where could they
mean?
be?
Like
Yeah.
Halifax in
Yeah.
England? It's like, no, you have to just look at what logically makes the most sense. This stone could be
Right.
real, and a small group
Ah.
could have gone separate, and that group had a rough time, and the other group,
And
now
it
they have
also could have been
generations down the.
something that was placed somewhere later on by somebody to make it seem like the natives weren't as nice as what they actually were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know, because I'm like, would you kill
So
a baby, like a little kid?
I think that The Rock would have
That's
said that explicitly if that's what
yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was
just
something I read where
it's
that was kind of like the theory put out there that
it seems
the
like separate
husband
things.
and the
Like the husband and
child
the
were
baby
both
died.
killed
Yeah.
Oh,
because they're both like seemingly died at the
yeah,
same time at the same year. So,
yeah.
unless they both
Well,
got sick or something.
great story. I just wish you could tell me this is
With
exactly what
definitive
happened.
proof.
Yeah.
I mean, some people would say that they went to CROATOAN Island like pretty definitively. So you could go with that.
Part of it really is
but-
our fault because our podcast has the word ocean mystery in the subtitle.
Yes.
So I don't know what I was expecting.
We got to keep it a little mysterious. So there's that.
Still a really interesting story. And I think that this is something that a lot of
Mhm.
people, they just
Yeah.
scratch their brain wondering what
Right.
happened.
Even
So
if you think like they're never gonna know 100% sorry what happened to each person. Like, there's always gonna be some mystery.
there's no way to
there.
know.
There's no way to
There's
know.
no way to know.
There's no way to know.
Awesome story though. Loved it. I mean, like I'm
Yeah.
upset, but I loved it.
And
I know
of
I didn't know
course,
much about it either, so it was fun to research.
and of course, once again, we have a topic that we can bleed into more topics later.
Gosh.
So yes, I found
So
out
someone
how
get on the
Megan's related to Neanderthals.
Paranormal.
Please tell me.
I'm very curious. Please send over all your
Apparently,
DNA
23andMe, it
23andMe.
does actually offer a report to show it tests over 2,000 genetic variants that are known to have originated in Neanderthals, and it analyzes them, and it will tell you how many of these variant copies you share with Neanderthals.
I got a lot, you guys.
Oh,
I got so much.
well, at least you have some, athletic ability. Maybe I don't.
I can
You
build
should be
fires
taller.
really well.
But it does. I would like to know if it's like 86% or if you had 86 of the copies, because it can be anywhere between 0 and 2,872. So
Oh,
it
'cause that would be
definitely
a big
was.
difference.
It definitely was
Yeah.
a percentage. I can
Okay.
I can show.
anyways,
later.
we'll pop that on the
Yes, I
Megan
will.
will
Pop that
provide
on
her
Instagram.
DNA results later.
Well, no, keep in mind that technically though it's my brother's, but since we
Yeah.
share the exact same mother and father, I can effectively say because this is not about
It's gonna
DNA,
be
it's about
similar.
See,
genetics.
I mean, your
just so you
DNA
know,
results could be quite different, but
yeah, you can. It
they're
also
gonna
says
be
here
like,
it does not indicate how evolved a person is, nor does it indicate how their strength or intelligence is. Just so you know.
Okay,
So,
I have it right
okay.
here. And it says, "Hey Connor, you have more Neanderthal DNA than 87% of other customers."
Okay, so more than 87% of
And-
customers. You
and
don't
the
have
picture
87% Neanderthal DNA.
It's literally a little caveman.
Oh.
And so then I sent this meme to the group chat.
hey, it's your great grandfather.
Great.
The resemblance is uncanny.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will pop that into the end of this Instagram post because, I'm sure you all want to see how Neanderthal-like I am. And
Well, we can
hey,
see.
hey. And if someone is from this part, this neck of the woods, this part in the US,
Ooh, and you have some creepy stories.
Yeah.
Tell
let
us.
us know. Or even
Or
if
tell
Or
us
if you
what you
think you
think.
might be related to the Roanoke.
or a
colony.
Neanderthal, either, please let me know. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Tell us your DNA.
Or you just want to talk to us.
Just tell us, hey, the show wasn't terrible. Whatever you want to do, that'd be great.
yes,
Appreciate
any
you so
support.
much.
Okay.
that it?
well,
Are we done?
Thank you for
it's
listening. I
almost-
think so. So I'm gonna
It'll be spring soon.
say
so
bye and
everyone.
All right. Well,
get
happy
excited.
almost spring, and
Yes.
next week we'll be actually in spring. So hopefully
Yay.
I can ditch the winter coat.
Yeah.
I almost died on my walk today. It was so hot. So good things are coming. Okay, everyone. Thank you for listening.
All right,
We'll
thank
see you
you.
next week. Please tune
See you
in. Tell
next
everyone
week.
you know about the podcast. And we love you.
Okay. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a moment to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leaving us a like or comment really helps. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, please visit our coffee page at www.ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.